Okay. So I'm here with, introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Roy Ford.
Right.
DJ
Yeah, Faze here again. Now, brother, while I got you here, congratulations on your position.
Thank you.
As a chaplain.
Yes, I received my chaplaincy license. Also, I received my master's degree in theology.
Right,
Thank
so
you.
congratulations. Now, coming from that perspective, I want to get your take. First, we got this presidential election, and we in critical times, or we just in some intense type times. So I just wanted to get your take on voting. Should we vote as Black Americans? I mean, or
Well, I mean, a lot of our foreparents died for us to be able to vote. But the society that we live in now, vote really doesn't count. Because presidents are not elected, they're selected. They already decided who's going to be the next president.
wow. Now that's interesting. You say that. I was trying to say that to somebody too, but okay. So you saying they're selected
Yes, President.
by who? Who were they
The
selected
last
by?
president that was elected was John F. Kennedy.
Wow.
And that's why he was assassinated, because he didn't want to go along with the program.
But wait, that's controversial what you're saying. So who were they selected by?
They're selected by the Illuminati, they're selected by the Rothschilds, they're selected by the Blumenbergs, they're selected by the people of the high, the 1%.
Now, do we have any proof of that?
Oh, you can have proof. Yes, we do have proof. Bush lost the election in Texas,
Okay.
but because he was selected, he was overturned, and he ended up winning. But he lost in Texas.
Is that the only proof that we have? I mean, are we dealing with suspicion? Are we just suspicious of this, or we actually have proof of this? Because a lot of people feel how you feel. You're not the only one.
Well,
But is it just fear in the air, or is it really we have some substantial to prove this?
well, there's really nothing substantial to prove it. But the thing is that the elections are designed and they're set up to make you vote for who they want you to vote for. They got a good guy, they got a bad guy.
Right.
And here's your choice, who you gonna pick.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like they put somebody like Donald Trump, who some people might call obnoxious, some people, might call, they put somebody like that just so we could go vote
That's exactly what it is.
for, in record numbers for a first woman
That's exactly what it is.
president. But, okay, I just wanted to know, like, if
Can
we
I
have
interject?
any, yeah.
On that, before that, what they were going to do was they were going to put her in before Obama. But because of the way and now I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, what they're gonna do. The next president is probably gonna be someone that wasn't born here, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was gonna be. But then a lot of turmoil came in his event, so they put Hillary to be the next in line after that. It was really a test for Obama to be in there. So now that they grabbed the population, they had to put Trump in there to say, okay, now we're not going to vote for Trump, and we're going to vote for Hillary. All right. So that's what the focus is with the government is to lead you one way to get you to go the other way. Okay. So the more that we protest, we're forgetting the true issues of what needs to be heard, and that's exactly what's happening here. My brother Roy said something that was very, very, very unique and which was really standing, and he said that they were selected and we don't have a choice. Okay, we don't have a choice to say, okay, even if you vote, you voting for something that they already selected.
Okay, but see, my thing is this our collective intuition, or is this actual fact?
Well, it has to be actual fact.
How are we coming to this conclusion?
Because
how do we know this?
Take it this way. Who has ever been a president besides Kennedy that the people wanted?
Obama.
Really?
Yeah, people want Obama.
Why did the majority of people vote for Obama? People didn't even know who Obama was, but fact that he was a person of color, that's what made him a vote.
Right.
So of course they wanted that. He's already selected. He already set to do whatever they told him to do. He's already set and done it. So now to get the people to go ahead and come out in numbers and vote,
Right.
they gave him a man of color.
Okay, so since most of us are suspicious of the political thing, the political arena, a lot of us are suspicious. And you two are both voicing what a lot of people already believe. My next question is, because I don't want to be involved like with a nation of complainers. It just seems like as black people, all we're doing is complaining, you know? And I want to do something about it. What I'm saying is just the question. Should we form our own political party?
Should have been did that.
Should have been did that.
Should have been did that. Should have been did a whole bunch of stuff that we're not doing.
Okay, so what's the first step? Which, in your opinion, should we form a political party?
I would say as far as presidency, or as far as just
Across the board, mayors, governors, like Tupac. That was one of his last interviews where he said he wanted to form a political party for like lost tribes, he called it.
By the next election, I promise, I'm gonna be sitting across from all the candidates. I bet you we will have our own political party. And it won't be just for black people. It's gonna be for Mexicans, it's gonna be for Mexicans, it's gonna be for black people, it's gonna be for Armenians. I don't give a fuck. All you lost tribe motherfuckers right now, we need to have our own political party because we all have the same motherfucking problem. We built this nation and we get none of the benefits.
Or like lost tribes, he called it. You know what I'm saying? Lost tribe people.
Well, we had an opportunity to do that in 1968.
Oh yeah?
Martin Luther King was alive.
Okay.
Instead of him having that dream of being segregated, he wanted to integrate. And that's what caused us to be in the situation that we are, because we're integrating with a system that's already existing.
Right.
So you're saying we should have stayed segregated?
Exactly. And we could have created our own system.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
And notice what happened as soon as we did that. We used to own our own stores. We used to own our own a lot of things. And as soon as we did that, it was taken away from us. And now we don't own anything. You know, just like we were talking about it the other day. If we live off the land, we can't live off the land. How you gonna live off the land? You live in the projects. You can't go down and sow your seed. You can't do it.
And you know another interesting thing I was thinking about, and y'all can correct me if y'all can or if y'all want, but as far as you said, like Martin Luther King, segregation versus integration, and that's like mid-60s. And
68.
right, so another interesting thing that happened around that time, 68, was an influx of our Caribbean brothers. Like a lot of Puerto Ricans, Jamaicans started coming in. And that added to the integration. It's not just black American anymore.
President Lyndon B. Johnson gave a short speech to those that had come to witness the signing.
This bill that we will sign today is not a revolutionary bill. It does not affect the lives of millions.
He could not have been further from the truth. The bill he signed was the Hart-Celler Immigration Bill, also known as the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. This act marked a turning point in American immigration policy and would have a tremendous impact on America as a whole.
The 1965 Immigration Act completely transformed the Asian American community, and I would argue completely transforms America.
The Immigration Act of 1965 also propelled a dramatic rise in Latino immigration, increasing ethnic diversity in the society as a whole and within the immigrant communities themselves.
And that added to the integration. It's not just black American anymore.
Well,
there's a lot of Caribbean.
That can be said, unsaid too, because back in the 50s everybody did have their own piece of, just like with music. There was always a salsa music, a Caribbean music. It was just that what came to the forefront.
In the 50s, in the 40s?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Caribbean?
All of that. Yeah.
But it wasn't a lot of population. Was it a lot of numbers?
But it was.
It was popular.
It was.
No. I mean, like, was it a large population of Puerto Ricans in the 50s
Well,
and the 40s.
There were a lot of Spanish people.
Yeah?
A lot of Spanish.
Well, I
What
wasn't
about
here-
Jamaican?
I
What
wasn't
about
here-
Haitian? Jamaican, Haitian?
I can only speak for when I was here. I wasn't here in the 50s. I was born in 61.
Right.
But in the 70s and the 80s, that's when we began to really come together because of
Right.
music,
Right,
because of
because of
culture.
music, right.
They adopted our dress code. They adopted our haircuts. They adapted and we accepted them as brothers and sisters.
Right, but I'm just saying, I just think that added to the integration, and I think like a lot of our people nowadays are mixed blood, we're mixed in lineage, and it's just an interesting topic, but okay.
Well, the word that you need to use here is called assimilation.
Assimilation.
Yeah, because that's what the Romans did a long time ago. Whenever they would capture someone, instead of killing them, they would assimilate them within their community. And they would become part of that community. That's why America is called the Great Melting Pot.
Right.
It's nothing but a group of assimilated people that came together. But they're being governed by still one nation.
Right. And we're the only, or one, I think us and maybe the Native Americans are the only ones without our own homeland. We're the only one without a nationality.
Well, we have a nationality. And
What's
we
our
have a homeland.
nationality? What's our homeland?
Well, it depending on the individual. I know that I'm an Israelite, and I know that I'm from the tribe of Judah, and I know that my homeland is Jerusalem. Now,
Okay.
other people may see other things different. They may say they're from Africa.
Right. Well, right.
And
That's what I mean.
right,
Like,
and they're right by saying that they're from Africa because their foreparents was brought here on slave ships from Africa.
okay. So wait. Okay. Us as a collective, African Americans. There's some millions of us. Now, okay, you identify with being Israel, but we don't have a home. We don't live in Israel. We don't own Israel. We don't have a homeland. So I guess you already answered the question. My next question was going to be, what should be our name? Because African Americans, I don't know if we agreed on that, if we named ourselves that.
I think
Or that was given to us.
I think that's part of the problem right there is naming. We need to, instead of naming, we need to do something. We need to be a part of. We need to, if you feel like we don't claim Israel, we need to claim it. And that's what a part of what a lot of the wars are and what's going on now is because,
Wait, are you saying that we shouldn't have a name for ourselves?
No, I'm not saying we shouldn't worry about the name.
Well, that's like primary. First thing, you have to name yourself, say, I am this, and now this is my land. The first thing you have to say, who are you?
Okay.
Are we African American?
So because Columbus came over here and named this America, is this his land?
I'm saying us. I'm saying
That's what I'm talking about.
Are we
The
African?
name
Okay.
is we get
Are we
caught up in
African
the
American?
name.
Are we African American?
We are, well, just like he said, he feels like he's from Jerusalem.
Are you African American?
Me, I believe that my ancestors came from Africa.
So you're cool with that name?
Was brought here from Africa.
You cool with
on
that
a
name?
slave-
You're cool with
But
that name?
Africa being African?
Are you cool with African American as being your name?
I'm cool with being, since I'm here in America, called a person, called a human being.
Right, but we live in a society where...
When you say, like I said, because I do have a problem with that. I have a problem with the names because we don't have our original names. We don't have who we
brother,
are.
So my thing is always the answer, the solution, the next step. Okay, that's the problem. Now the answer, what is our name?
To me, I would have to come up with a name.
Okay, that's good.
I would have to come up with a name.
So you need time to think about a name.
Yes,
okay.
I would have to come up with a name, and I would have to have a name that has something to do with my life.
Right.
And so
For
you
us
could,
as a collective.
Right.
So we should name ourselves.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Because, each one of our names were given to us by our masters.
From Negro,
which were called masters
right.
when they're really not our master.
Right.
Only master that us as human beings have is God.
Right. And you point to the sky.
Well, I point everywhere because God is everywhere. Okay. So once we take that into consideration and say that we're under the name of which, like we just said, a master. There's no such thing as a master to me.
Okay, so next time me
Except
and
for
you get
God.
together, I want you to think about that. Which should be our name, your vote for our name,
For our
collective name.
I could do that. I could
Right.
definitely do that. What I'm more particularly into is trying to find a solution,
Right.
so that we don't have to do this. What we're doing right now is totally great.
Right.
But it's only 3 of us.
Right,
You see
right,
what I'm saying?
right.
So if I could bring my thoughts to him,
Right.
and he bring his thoughts to somebody else,
Right.
and it spiral in that manner, then that would be in collective, and that would be something that would be significant into our change of what needs to be. Because as it stands, we have to have a change. We cannot stand here
Right.
and wait for something to happen.
Right.
We have to be, I know I have to do it, because like I said, this is, I'm halfway over.
I want you to hold that thought, right? Because I want to get this in, and then I want to come back to that.
Okay.
As far as what you said, we need a change, and we can't wait.
Right.
Hold that. I want to come back to that.
Nation.
Now I want to ask you, brother, and really both of y'all. Okay.
I need to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
And I got to say this on camera. He got me smelling the champagne.
Champagne,
And,
come on.
that's all I've been doing. Because since he knew that. He knew that was going to happen. He knew Booby was going to say, yo, what you got on? Champagne. Whoa. I didn't have to ask him. I already knew what it was. What I told you. I said, he got on champagne. That's must be Roy. He got on champagne.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Continue.
Yeah, it smell like, for the listeners, it smell like powder almost.
I would like to say something
Right.
concerning the name.
Right.
When God dealt with Abraham, one of the things that God said to Abraham is that he would make him a great nation.
Right.
And that's probably what you're trying to hit on is we need to come together as a nation. If we come together as a nation, we will no longer need outsiders. All right? But we're living in their nation. All right? And what they
Right.
do is they divide and conquer. Every time we come together, they throw something into it.
But we're not talking about that. We're going to focus on us. We're going to focus on our answers. I know what you're saying.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, I want y'all to listen to our people. Whenever we talk, we always talk about the problem. And we have to start talking about the answer only.
It's like if you were at a restaurant and you ordered something. You fully expect it to come served that way.
Yes.
That's how the universe, you're putting out orders consciously and unconsciously.
Yes.
And expect it to come back. So if you're saying, I'll never have a great relationship, you just place an order.
I want y'all to listen to our people. Whenever we talk, we always talk about the problem. And we have to start talking about the answer only. We already know what the problem is. We already know what they do. We already know all that.
But we don't.
Just going to focus on.
If we all did,
Right.
then it wouldn't be a problem. But a lot of us are blinded
Right.
by what's happening. A lot of us will go. Now this is prime example. The TV programs.
Right.
Okay. The styles, the things that happen. If just me and this brother, right, could have stayed in the way we did things, we wouldn't have the things that's going on right now. We wouldn't have young people with their pants hanging down to the thing. When we were younger, we dressed presentable. We could go to somewhere and be presentable.
Right.
We even though we were bad as all get out, we respected our elders. Okay, we respected that there was someone that was older than us, that had more knowledge and commitment to doing the right thing than us. So we respected that. We, even though we were bad, we would rather punch you in your eye and have a black eye to come out the next day and say, I gave him a black eye, than to shoot him and don't see him no more. And so that's what this generation and beyond and going on forward is doing. So
Right, but the answer is, how do we bring it back to that?
And that is the answer. Because number one, it's a matter of what they think is cool. You see, we did stupid things like maybe smoke a cigarette because we thought it was cool.
Okay.
Knowing that, you know, it wasn't right for us to smoke a cigarette, but that was cool. We might have popped our collars because it's cool. So it's the same thing that what they have put in
Right.
to say what is
It's cool to shoot guns. Now,
Right.
but what I'm saying as far as one-on-one fighting, who's going to take that L? When they take that L, are they going to be humble enough to shake the man's hand and say, yo, I took that L, I'll come back tomorrow?
No more.
Well,
That's
what,
gone.
What I think caused it to happen is because there was a law that was implemented that said that if you put your hands on your child, you can go to jail.
Exactly.
And then now, if you don't discipline your child, especially us little black children, all right, what are they going to grow up to be? That's why the children today, they don't have no respect for elders.
None.
Because that wasn't implemented into their lives as children. So they was like, oh, you know, you have mothers that are single, that work in 2 jobs to support the family, to take care of the kids, to buy
That's a
them
good
this, to
point of
buy them
view.
that. They don't have time to be home with their kids. They're not
Right.
spending time. There's no discipline in the house.
Okay.
But they're buying their children. They're not raising
Okay,
them.
And wait a minute, and I'm gonna say something else. There's also that I saw, which I agree with it because of what it stands for. But do you know they took the prayer out of schools? So anything, just like I was telling you before, anything that holds us together, they want to destroy. When
Who's they? Who's they?
the Illuminati,
What's the Illuminati?
Well,
That's
let's just
such a
say-
common cliche.
I can
What
say- I
and
can
who is the
explain who they
Illuminati?
are. They are the government. I mean, the government
The
is.
government?
I'm going to explain it. You have to listen for a second. Let me explain. The government is designed to help certain people, and certain people they just don't want. See, they give to us welfare. All right, and all that is to allow you to be poor.
Wait a minute.
But yet you sustained.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now,
Sure.
when you say government,
Well, welfare comes from the government.
wait, but no, when you say government, when I see government, I see black folk with jobs. It's black folk that work in the
Sure,
FBI.
there's a lot of
It's
black folks with
that
jobs.
work out the projects. People that came out the projects and work in the government.
Sure. Sure.
So when you say like the government is the
Well,
Illuminati,
are the black folks?
what does that mean? There's regular people that work in the government.
I got this. Are the black folks that are working in the government making any laws?
When a law is first proposed, it's called a bill. Anyone can propose a bill. You, me, a member of Congress, the president, anyone. Then the bill has to be presented or introduced into Congress. For this example, let's say our bill is being presented in the House by Representative Jones. The bill is given to the clerk of the House, who assigns it a number and sends it to be printed. Then, the Speaker of the House sends the bill to a committee to be examined. The committee discusses the bill, holds hearings, gets information, and makes recommendations. Sometimes the committee even rewrites the bill. Then the committee votes to either approve the bill or reject it. If the committee votes to approve, the bill is presented to the whole House. Then all the representatives debate the bill and vote on it. From there, the bill is sent to the Senate. The Senate goes through the same procedure. It goes to a committee, and then the whole Senate votes. Once Congress approves the finished bill, it's sent to the President. One of the most important features written into the Constitution is a system called checks and balances. Checks and balances means that each branch of the government, the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch, has some power over the other branches. That way, no one branch can become too powerful, and no branch can work without the approval and cooperation of the others.
Implementing the laws that are already here.
Laws don't come from top up.
Right.
They come from top down.
Down. Exactly. So
All
they're
right.
implementing the laws that are already here and revising them. So in
Okay,
other words,
right.
if you instead of you can't cross the street right? Instead of saying you can't cross the street, you might cannot cross the street at a certain time.
So you saying that that's the Illuminati, the black folks
It's
that
the
work
government.
in the government?
Okay, I'll give you a better
I see
example.
people with jobs.
I'll give you a better example.
The majority of people,
I see people with jobs.
think about it. Let's say we have 1 million people, right? And 1% of those million have jobs. What about the rest of the 99.9%?
I'll give you a better example.
What I'm saying, there's many facets of the government. The government is large. When you say government, that entails a lot of different things.
The high men on the totem
I'll
pole.
give you a small one.
The high men on the totem
All right, I'll
pole.
give you a small one. We was in Cochona Park, Old Timers Day.
Right.
It was beautiful. Nothing with blacks and Hispanics. It was lovely. It was really beautiful.
Right.
As soon as it got a little dark, here comes the police telling you,
Shut
you
it
have
down.
to leave the park.
Okay.
All right? That's a law.
Okay.
All right, we never had that law before.
No.
Okay.
All right, that's something that was implemented because what they're saying, we can't conduct ourselves. There was no fighting, there was no shooting. All right.
Well, I'm not going to take the. I'm not going to support. Right. I'm not going to support.
Is that a law?
Right.
Okay. This is my whole point.
Right.
Laws that are implemented, we have to follow.
Right.
Even God Himself says, you know.
Is something wrong with that? Following laws.
No.
Of course. If yes.
Well,
I'll say it, boy. I'll go ahead and say it. Yes, there's something wrong with it because if there's something that is wrong, and we still say that it's right, there's something wrong. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of people say this and they say, oh, that it's different, but if you take a test right now, you could be at Harvard or anywhere, and you ask, who discovered America?
Right.
If you put anything other than Christopher Columbus, the answer is wrong.
Right.
How could he discover something where people were already there?
Okay, get to the point. What's the point? What's the point?
That is the point.
What?
That there's a law. The laws that are there, we have to abide by them because we're here.
And what's
that
wrong with
doesn't
that?
mean it's wrong.
Why is it wrong?
Why would you tell your child?
Don't you have rules for your house, your apartment?
Yes.
For your children?
Yes. The right
and
laws.
And you expect your children, oh, it's the right laws.
Right.
All
because
right.
you know why it's the right laws?
Why?
Listen, because it's a law that doesn't affect somebody else. It affects us. A law in my house would be: don't hurt your brother. Don't hurt your sister.
And you will have more than that. You might have chores.
Don't take something from your.
True force. You might have rules that your children think are unfair.
Of course.
So it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
Why?
Because we're grown-ups, and we will know the difference.
Some grown-ups got to be controlled, because some grown-ups are out of control.
Do you think the law where
right or wrong? Some grown-ups are out of control.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
So you need rules and regulations.
You need the right rules and the right regulations.
Okay, now let's go back to my point. We have become a nation of complainers, and what I'm saying is, I don't want to complain no more. I'm saying let's push for our own nation with our own rules. Jamaicans got Jamaica. Haitians got Haiti. Dominicans got Dominican Republic.
And they don't.
Why they don't have Jamaica?
And Africa doesn't have Africa.
Wait. Now you talk. I'm wrong.
Yeah,
How am I wrong? How am I
the
wrong?
Jamaicans that lived in Jamaica, they live in poverty in the bottom. The people that control Jamaica, they live up on the hill.
But they're
in the
still
nice
Jamaicans.
houses.
They're black folk in their government.
Jamaicans are just like us. It's just that they speak a different dialect.
Of course, yeah. We all know that. We're all brothers. But what I'm saying is, they have.
Who runs Jamaica?
Listen to what I'm saying.
That's the whole point.
Jamaicans.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Are you saying Jamaicans ain't in their government? Wait. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm asking you. Are you saying in Jamaica's government, there's not black Jamaicans in there?
Oh, there's probably some Jamaicans.
Okay.
Just like in our system.
Okay. So you're saying there's outsiders in the Jamaican government?
There are people that took over and called Jamaica their land.
Lady Ellen joins me in extending a very warm greeting and welcome to each one of you at King's House for this ceremony to swear in Mr. Andrew Onis as Prime Minister of Jamaica. given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House this 3rd day of March in the year of our Lord 2016.
I, Andrew Michael Holness, do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibility to the people of Jamaica.
Just like in our system.
Okay, so you're saying there's outsiders in the Jamaican government?
There are people that took over and called Jamaica their land.
Now, what I'm saying is this, is their land to F up. You understand? Like, I'd rather have my apartment to F up, but it's my apartment. We don't have an apartment to F up. We don't have nothing to sell out.
But why do you say it? Wait a minute, whoa.
Do you understand what I'm saying? We don't have anything.
But that's where you just
at least
lost
the Jamaicans
You
have
just
pride in
lost
Jamaica.
it.
Okay, true or false? Jamaicans got pride in Jamaica.
We have pride here.
Who?
All of us.
You have pride in America? You just got finished telling me the rules ain't fair.
Yeah, because I have pride for me and my family.
You see the problem. What I'm saying is this.
And my brother.
I'm not understanding your question.
We don't have a nation, a nationality. We don't have nothing. These other races have things. These other nationalities, Jamaican, like I say, Haitians got Haiti. They have an identity. They could go home. They could go somewhere that they call home.
I ask you a quick question.
We can't go nowhere that we call home.
I ask you a question.
We are constantly under pressure here. Constantly under pressure to pay rent.
Before you feel like we were brought here, right?
Exactly.
Who was here?
There was black men here, and there was dark Indians here.
Okay, so then that would be their land, right?
I'm not understanding you because
would that be their land?
You're talking
they
about.
They lived here. Yeah, I guess it would be their land.
Okay, is this their land now?
No.
Same thing.
You're talking about a people that was injected into society.
Right? Say it again?
You're talking about a people that was injected into a society.
Injected? What do you mean?
The word injected, that means coming out and going in.
Okay.
We came through the slave ships and became slaves in America. We didn't volunteer to come here and work.
Okay. From my understanding, and I'll do more research.
Okay, go ahead.
They're Haitians in the Haitian government.
Sure is.
They have their government. That's their government. Now, if it's effed up, if it's messed, if it's corrupt, then at least that. But it's theirs.
No. We're talking about America.
Okay, America is who?
This is a Roman government. It's a Roman society.
Is it ours?
We're not Roman.
So it's not ours.
We're not Roman.
So that's my point. Let's get ours.
It was taking.
How about we get ours?
It was taken from us, just like we were.
Wait a minute. How about we get ours?
Why won't we get this back? Why don't we take this back?
That's a good question.
Well, let's get ours. That's my point.
Okay, so why don't we take this one back?
Well, one of the problems that we have with getting ours is there was a letter that was written by Willie Lynch a long time ago.
That's the problem. Let's not keep talking about the problem.
What you focus on expands. It gets bigger. Because there's a law in the universe that says what you focus on expands.
Exactly.
What you give your attention to gets bigger. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands.
But that's the problem.
Boy, please finish.
Why are we going to keep talking about the problem?
You want to know why?
Let's talk about the answer.
What you focus on expands. It gets bigger.
Let's talk about the answer.
You asked me why don't we have our own? That was your question.
No. My question was, how about we get ours? Today in 2017.
And I'm going to explain to you why.
The Willie Lynch letters?
Of course.
Okay, but that expired.
This speech was delivered by Willie Lynch on the bank of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods to slave owners there. The term lynching is derived from his name. Gentlemen, I greet you here on the bank of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I should thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if you installed it correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. It will control the slaves for at least 300 years. 300 years. 300 years.
The Willie Lynch letters?
Of course.
Okay, but that expired.
No,
that's still, for a certain time.
We are still living from that syndrome.
Okay, but we're coming out of that.
Oh, yes, we are coming out.
So now that we're coming out of it, what are we going to do to get ours?
We're not completely out.
Okay.
We're still divided.
So we got to sit here and wait?
No. What we have to do
is enough of us that's out of it, right?
You're going to ask me a question and answer
Pardon me, go ahead.
You're going to allow me to answer it.
Go ahead.
All right. What we have to do is more brothers like ourselves need to put up documents on YouTube or possibly get a radio station. And we need to get the word out that we can do other things besides wait for a check or work for the government that gives us a job. We don't have to be always employees. We can become employers.
Right.
That's the beginning of getting your own.
Right.
All right. And I agree with getting a name that would suit us to make us come together.
Okay.
Because every name that we have was given to us.
Exactly.
It started with the word nigger.
That's the only thing
it
I
went
try
to
to say.
Negro.
Right.
It went to African American. Now we're black. Now we're African.
Why I couldn't agree earlier?
No,
that's
the
point.
What I'm saying to
right.
you is that this is not a name that we gave ourselves.
That was my point 20 minutes ago.
So yes, we do need to come together and give ourselves a name, something to be proud of, something to build us up.
So what do you think our name should be?
I have no idea at this particular moment.
Did you think about it yet?
No, there's no way. You know why I couldn't have thought about it in this quick of time? Because whatever our name has to mean something. There has to be meaning behind it.
You know, I asked Cool DJ D this. You know what he said?
What?
Kings and Queens. And it sounded like, wow. But then as you think about it, he said, yeah, you know, we greet each other. What's up, King? What's up, Queen? And I was like, wow.
That's still a status that was given.
What do you mean? Nobody named us that.
No, that was a status of a king. There was a status of a queen.
Okay.
And that's one, I'm glad that you brought that up because I thank God that I have my brother. See, one thing I got to tell you in this film, right? Here, this brother right here, I know since I was 5 years old.
Oh yeah?
Yes. Okay. So anything that he says and he studied, I more tend to believe because that's family. Right. So if I ask him a question, it's because I want to know his opinion of the answer, and I can relate to where he's coming from.
Right.
So what the question that I just was going to ask when we get into the later part of the interview is that is a lord lower than a king in the standard of language? So if a lord is lower than a king, which we would say that God is the king, why would we call a lord? And so that's the problem, what I was saying with the names that we already have. One thing that I've learned in my journey is that man created language, not God. See, what we don't understand is God is the creator. He made everything. He's done everything. We would not be here standing here.
But wait, your understanding of God is different from the brother understanding of God. So
what do you mean a brother?
His understanding of God is y'all have two different understandings. Because so my thing is, do you have a question? Do you have a question?
No, actually, I'm in agreement with what he said.
Right.
It's just that I can just take it to another level, but I agree 100% with what he said.
Okay. Do you have a question for him?
Because he's absolutely right. Because when Cain killed his brother Abel, you know, God says, you know, why did you do that?
Okay.
He knew it was wrong, because he said, if you send me out amongst the people, they're gonna kill me for what I did. So he's absolutely right.
Okay.
You know.
So God didn't have to even tell him. He knew
he's right.
that it was wrong.
I mean, is God of the Bible the true God?
In my opinion, God of the Bible, they're talking about the Creator, but the Bible interjected something else and put in. And my thing is this. This is what my whole grief is. That when I spoke to God, right? God told me that there's nothing in between. it's me directly straight to God.
Amen.
When
Amen.
he talks to me,
Amen.
he talks straight to me.
I agree with that.
There's nothing in the middle.
I agree with that 100%.
And I asked you before, I said, if you knew a long time ago that you didn't have to step this way to get to this direction, you would just go straight. And that's what I believe. I believe that God has an individual relationship with each one of us.
Let's be all the way real. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the brother, I think he may be holding back a little bit. I mean, because I think what he's talking about is Jesus.
No, I'm talking about religion.
Right. No, and so, do you feel like Jesus, do you feel like people who put Jesus in the way of themselves and God?
Yes. Because I believe, listen, because I believe that is something, see, they put Jesus in man's image, okay? God is not man's image.
Okay. God is a spirit, and those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Spirit. Okay. And he's not man's spirit. See, God created us, created man. Okay? So we have nothing to do with any of his power. You feel what I'm saying?
God created man, so we have nothing to do with.
Right. So he didn't give us.
We're in the image of God, right?
Yes, we are.
So we have God in us, right?
We have God's spirit
we have
in
his spirit.
us.
He's right.
In his image.
Inside of it.
And
we don't have his image. We have his spirit.
The Bible. The Bible said man was made in his image.
It's always going to reveal the black man as God. You know why? Because in your Bible it tells you that God is within us.
I explain it to you this way.
You talking about the physical flesh?
If God created something, that means it's God and his creation.
Okay.
Okay? In his creation, whatever he does, he's given a part of him into his creation.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So in other words, if you make an apple pie, part of that apple pie is you making that apple pie.
So what's your point?
So my point is this, that we have to look at God as you're the creator, I'm what you created, you're my master, only you
so now if God
can delegate my heart.
Let me ask you, there's a thing about, since we're talking about the Bible, there's a thing that I don't know if it is, but it might be running rampant. They say it's running rampant in the black community. They say it's an issue in the black community, which is young girls having sex with, older men, what they call child molestation.
Mm-hmm.
So, Brother Roy, I want to ask Brother Roy, I don't know if you study African history, right? Mm-hmm. In America, the legal age.
The Americas. Canada has a countrywide law of 16 as the age of consent. Most of the US is 16 or 18, with all of the West Coast being 18, except for my state, Washington. Only a handful of states are set in between the two at 17.
That a girl, like a 17-year-old girl, can have sex with anybody she chooses. A 50-year-old man, 60-year-old man, and it's not a crime for a 17-year-old girl to have sex with a 50-year-old man. But if a 16-year-old girl have sex with a 50-year-old man, that's a crime, and that's child molestation. So now, what are your views on child molestation? Is there an answer to it? Is there
my thing on this is that me personally, I've always wanted an older woman. Okay, because a younger woman to me never could do the things that I fantasize about or whatever. Okay. And that has something to do with lust. So anybody that is older than someone that's much, much younger than them, to me is, yes, that's pornography and all that. But in a sense, none of it's supposed to happen, and because the only reason you're supposed to have sex is to have children.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what man turned it into a lustful thing.
Okay, so what do we do? Do you think that there's an issue with child molestation in the black community?
Of course, and it's not just the black community, it's all community.
Right, so what can we do about it?
What we can do about it is teach our children. See, only thing we can do at this age is teach our youth.
Okay.
We're done.
Okay.
There's nothing in our generation that we can change.
Okay.
It's too far gone. So we can teach our youth for the future generation to respond to the lessons that we have taught them.
Teach the youth what?
Teach them what to do, to obey their parents, to believe in God, and to talk to God.
What about sex? They,
That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
When should they have sex? When should your daughter have sex? When should
my daughter, from what I believe in my heart, my daughter should have sex when she's old enough to be able to maintain for her child until that child is old enough to maintain for itself.
Right. So you're saying financially stable?
Financially, mentally, physically, everything.
Now let me ask you, brother, as far as the Bible, does the Bible give any regulations or any kind of anything on the age that a young girl should have sex?
Well, I'm not sure about the age.
Right.
But the Bible does say that when she's ripe.
Right.
Right.
That means when she's able to do.
Now, what's right?
That's real easy. When a fruit that grows on a tree is ripe to eat, that means that it's mature and it's ready for you to consume.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
But what age is that?
Now, that also I wanted to say this is that I would like my daughter that God gives me to raise to have sex when she meets her husband and they get married. I would love that to happen, but it doesn't always happen like that.
Right.
But that's what he would love.
All right? Because that's what God says.
Right.
All right? That's his rules.
So what if you got a guy or people who say, well...
Now let me continue with this.
Right. What age is right?
Let me continue with this. If you're an older guy, right, you got to remember, we do things differently than it was done in the Bible when it comes to marriage. All right? In the Bible, marriage was given sometimes without even knowing who that person was that you're going to marry. All right? We're living in a society where we get to pick and choose and fall in love, and then we can get married. It's a whole different society. Now, who am I to tell a woman what age she has to be before she feels like she's ready to get married? If she's 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, some women get married at 30, 35, all right? If she's ready to get married and she found a husband that she wants to be for the rest of her life, we have a consenting age for sex.
Do you agree with that consenting age?
Well, it's the law. It's the law of the land.
If you had your own land,
once again,
what would be the age? If we could start our land tomorrow, our nation, what would be the legal age there for a girl to have sex?
I believe in my heart that she's mature.
I like 21.
You're right. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I like 21.
At
but
21,
maturity has a lot to do with it also.
Because the teenage years are going to be teenage years, and you're still developing you. When you're 21, you're mostly to be in the frame that you're going to be for the rest that sets the course of the rest of your life. So I agree with him on that, and I would say the proper age would be 21.
I mean, I would like it to be.
Now, but also...
That's based on American thought, 21.
No, it's based on how we perceive how the maturity is, just like what we were saying about the grapes.
In America makes that 21 age the legal age, and I think your thing is based on that. Right.
No, not for marriage. It's for drinking.
21 is the legal age for drinking, right, not marriage. Okay, that's what I mean. But what I'm saying is America makes 21 a legal age. So what I'm saying is...
Okay, I'll give you an example.
What university... Hold up. You say you did with nature. In nature, what about 21 is any special from any other number?
Because like I said, When I was 18, when I was 19, I was still wild.
A lot of people wild when they 21.
Me. You asked me
Okay.
about me.
Okay.
So my feeling is that when you're 21, you're basically you're finished. You're on your way. Your path. You're on this path now. Before 21, you're on a whole bunch of paths. You don't know what you want to do. You don't know who you want to do it with. You don't want to whatever. At 21, I believe the maturity of your frame of mind is that, okay, I can settle down and do this.
That's a junior in college, a junior. That's young.
Let me add.
21s make a whole lot of, and they're not even full grown. You're really not full grown until you're 25, 26, right? 26. So that's what I would say is a universal number. Because that's something that's universal, applies to all of us. 26, 25, between 25 and 28, that's when you're full grown.
If we're gonna look at marriage as far as generations ago, it wasn't based on how old the women were. It was based on who can afford and what they had to give for her, and how can he take care of her.
Right.
So yeah, you got to look at it a whole lot of different ways. Where we're no longer living where a man is quote unquote selling his daughter, all right, to another person. All right, a man is now walking his daughter down the aisle, hopefully, and giving her away to her husband. All right, so yes, if you, like in the Muslim religion, if you can afford to take care of 3, 4 wives, you can have that. All right, but our religion and what the Bible says is that each man have his own wife.
Now, isn't it true that back in those biblical days, in ancient biblical days, them girls were actually young. Them girls were 14, 13, 14, 15. When they had, true or false, when they got their period,
Once they
was considered right.
They was considered a woman, yes. Once they had that meant all that meant, hold on, all that meant, now, I'm going to explain to the right part. All that meant is that they was able to bear children, which is what made them right.
And they was able to have sex, right?
Well, if they're able to bear children,
that's what they
now.
But the right, hold on, the right part is this. You got to remember, if you eat a peach that didn't cultivate to the color or to the texture that it's supposed to be, and you bite into it, it's going to be bitter. But if that peach is ripe and is ripe, which is a woman that's having a menstrual, that means that she's now ripe to bear children.
So in your opinion, is it morally right or wrong to have sex with a girl with a period? It's 13, 12. Is it morally right or wrong? It's wrong?
It's wrong. It's wrong because we know it's wrong. All right, she's a child. All right, she's a child. It's wrong. All right, it is really wrong. She's just learning her body.
Okay.
She's learning to take care of her body. She's learning how to do certain things. She's still in school. It is wrong in all aspects of life.
Okay.
All right.
And can I interject
so what if Mary,
what about Mary?
the mother of Jesus?
Sure. What about her?
What if she was 13 when she had Jesus?
That's a hypothetical. That requires no answer.
I've heard that though.
No, you heard. It's a hypothetical. You
I've
said
read
what
that.
if.
Right.
You did not.
Now, what if she was 15,
That's
14?
a hypothetical. I'm not touching that.
You're not touching that.
Not a hypothetical because it's a trap.
Right, it's a trap.
Of course it is.
But that would be very interesting.
Because then you're saying that God is wrong for what he did.
I'm not saying he's wrong because you said.
If I answer that.
Wait, brother, no. Let me correct this. I'm not saying God. Wait a minute, brother. Don't do that because that's not fair. What you did. You said it was wrong.
Right.
I didn't say it was wrong.
Right. But
so don't do that to me.
You said that you heard that Mary had a baby when she was 13.
So by your standards, it would be wrong.
It's definitely
your
wrong.
standards.
It's definitely
wrong. But don't say me. Okay. I didn't say it was wrong.
Watch your questioning.
I'm still, the whole subject, I'm still analyzing the whole subject because it's a deep subject. A lot of these ancient cultures like ancient Egypt,
but let me ask you a question.
Ancient African cultures, the girls was having sex when they was young. When they was 14, they was having sex. So that's why I say I'm up in the air with it. I'm still analyzing.
There's a difference between...
I haven't come to a conclusion.
Hold on. There's a difference between having sex than being brought to have sex.
Right. You said brought?
Sure, they was bought.
They was bought.
They was bought.
Bought?
And they would bring their daughters to
and whoever purchased them did what they wanted with them.
Okay.
Just like with our young people our black people, when they was young, the white man that enslaved us, he would go into the room and have sex with the young kids when he wanted to. Was that right?
Okay.
Now, another thing that I also have to...
But at the time, hold on, at the time, that was considered his property.
So what's the solution for today? Do you think it's an issue in the black community, child molestation?
Well, I don't really
or
see...
underage girls having sex with men?
I don't really see a lot of black people molesting black people. That's not something that predominantly we do.
Okay.
All right, that's more...
What do you mean? You saying older black men don't have sex with young?
But if an older black man has sex with an 18, 19-year-old woman, that's not molestation.
Okay, right.
She's consenting.
What if you have sex with a 15, 16?
Well, that's molestation. But we don't in our people we don't hear a lot of that.
You don't hear it, but does
I'm
that
not
mean
saying that it does happen, but what we do hear a lot of is our young women getting pregnant by young men.
Okay.
All right, that's something that we need to discuss. Actually, it's not a lot of older men knocking up these young girls.
Okay, so is it okay for a 15-year-old girl to have sex with a 15-year-old boy?
That's a hard one.
Okay.
I had sex at 15.
I was younger than that.
But no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know, I can't put rules on people that's coming up that didn't apply to my life when I was a child.
Because what I'm saying is, as far as underage or what they call child molestation, young girls 13, 14, 15 having sex, and a lot of times incest is in the same family sometimes.
That's
maybe
molestation.
Right. So the thing is, these girls are growing up and they traumatized. You know, a lot of black women might be traumatized. They've been raped.
Right. Well, that would traumatize.
You know, and they live in a life that's, you know, they have issues. You know, so that's why I'm asking this. You know, like, is there anything we could do about it?
Okay, I'm gonna interject and I'm gonna say about what I was saying before about the times. Now, in those days, in those times, what were a female's responsibilities? The responsibilities of today grow more farther than what it was before. Now, back in the days, they would have had their own land. They needed to cultivate their land.
Right.
They needed to feed each other.
Right.
They needed to wash each other's stuff.
Right.
And so a girl, when she was able to do these things, she was considered a wife. Because she was able to do these things.
Right.
Now, our children, they go to school. They're at that age. They don't have to write. They don't have to. They don't have
Playing
the same
an economic game.
Right. So now, mentally, they're not as mature as them that they were there, because it was their duty to make sure that he was fed. It was their duty. These children you don't eat, that's on you. I'm worried about myself.
A 15-year-old boy back then, a 15, 16-year-old boy could go make his own hut with his girl, make his own hut, kill his own animal, whatever, and feed his family.
And so
today we playing the economic game where it takes time.
Right. So that's another reason why I say that you have to have your relationship with God, because God will tell you what's right.
Well, we the original man, we the original black man, so we should be able to master any system, right?
Well, we do master it.
Okay, so we in the economic capitalist system, we should be able to master this.
I have the scripture that the brother was talking about earlier.
Okay.
And I would like to read it. See, I like to stay in the word and what the word said. You're absolutely right. And this is what it says. In the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 20. And it says, if a man smit, it says smit, which means to hit.
Smack, hit, spike.
Right. If a man smit his servant or his maid with a rod, and he dies under his hand, he shall be surely punished. And that's what the brother was saying earlier. And I agree.
And if he doesn't, and if he doesn't die, then it's okay, because he is his property.
Right. And whatever it is that he did to deserve to be beat, he should not have done, because he's the master and he's the slave.
Well, that's what I told you. I mean, I don't know if you fully agree, y'all fully understand each other, because that's what I told you. And I also told you that slaves back then wasn't slaves as we know it now.
Right, there wasn't.
Because,
and then the other thing that was about
it was more like indentured servants,
a person
right?
was right. A person that
But they were being paid.
Hold on, no, not exactly. A person that owed money and he couldn't pay his debt, he became a slave until he was paid off.
But that's what I'm saying.
Every 7 year, which was Jubilee, he had to be released no matter how long. If it was a 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years.
The Caucasian didn't do that. He didn't play by those rules.
Right.
He didn't play by those rules. His slavery, transatlantic slave trade.
And so, but that's exactly what I'm saying. What happened was they became property regardless of any debt.
Right.
And God did not make that. God said, well, listen.
God gave rules for it.
No, he's absolutely right.
Listen.
What he's saying is that, and I agree with him. He's saying that when they became slaves, they didn't do any infractions to become slaves.
Right.
They was
And
just
they had no debt to pay off.
They was right. They just was injected into a society where they were made slaves
with no debt.
With no debt. All right, and no way to free themselves.
And that's not what God intended.
Say that again.
Nah, I don't understand what y'all saying.
What is okay?
And that's why I had
hold on. When the black people that was in Africa, all right, in the 1600s, was translated over here. All right, they didn't do anything wrong to be put on those ships.
They had no debt.
All right,
they didn't owe no debt.
They was just sold, as you said, by some other Africans.
Right.
All right. So and the Caucasian purchased them.
Right.
All right. But they had no debt.
Right.
They had no the Caucasian had no right to enslave them for the amount of years. They had no right to enslave them at all. And then to enslave them for 30, 40, 50 years was ridiculous. And that is what he's saying. All right. If you owe me money and you lose your job,
and you have no way to pay.
You have no way to pay.
You have to work for your debt off.
I can tell you. I need you. I need you to.
Yeah, but that's not.
I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this. If you owe me money, I ask you to mow the lawn to pay it off. All right, to go to the store to pay it off. All right, and then a certain amount of days go by, and I feel justified that the debt is paid. You're released. But if I just take you out of the street and tell you mow my lawn, wash my dishes,
and then beat you,
all right, and you did nothing wrong,
right? That's not what God intended,
and that's what he's saying, and I agree.
Okay, right. We all know that.
Okay.
We all know that. They violated. I told you, Caucasians violated.
Yeah,
okay, but now when you see that, just like the average person, without God, will read that and interpret it which way. That God made condones being a slave. That condones the right to be without debt, to owe somebody and be their property.
Right.
You're never, even the paying the debt, you're not their property.
That's right.
I don't know. I think we all agree. I mean,
we agree.
I've been told you that. I told you that. I told you that Caucasians didn't play by those rules. Okay. When they did slavery, they did some different.
So what is being taught is what I'm trying to explain.
Now, my question is this: why are black people all over the internet blaming the Bible for what Caucasians did to us in the 1600s?
Because in the what we were just speaking about, if you don't have God, then you will not know the correct way. And you will be led amok.
That's why black people are blaming the Bible?
Yes, because they don't have a relationship with God to show them that this is what I mean. If it wasn't for right now, I've been explaining to you for all this time, but it took Brother Roy to get you to understand exactly.
It took Brother Roy to get you to understand.
No, right. I understood.
Can I just say one thing concerning what God say about us as a people?
Uh-huh.
This is what God said. He said, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. But people want to live wicked. They want to do what they want to do. And then when a crisis come up, they want to say, God.
What you think of that, man?
I think, like I told you before, there are things in the Bible that God already gave the official stamp and says, yes, this is right. And I told you that before. I said, listen, I'm not going to tell you that the Bible is wrong, all the way wrong. I'm going to tell you that the way it has been interpreted and the way that things have been there's a lot of things in the Bible that do not coincide with what we are living today. Perfect example. Now, Brother Roy is right here. Now, he's right here. I have a different take on the Adam and Eve story, and I'm going to tell you why. Believe me, like I told you before, Brother Roy will tell you, my family are Christians. We used to go to church all the time.
Absolutely right.
All the time we used to go to church. So from all those years, this is what I heard the story of Adam and Eve. First there was Adam. God took the rib of Adam and made Eve.
Okay.
Right there. In today's world, we'll think, hey, what's inside the bone of Adam? DNA. So Eve would not be Adam's wife. Eve would be Adam's sister. And this is the story. I'm just a regular person. If I didn't have God, I would think that that's exactly what it is. So now, how could Eve have sex with Adam and bear the children Cain and Abel if they were brother and sister? Then, who would Cain and Abel have sex with to make more people? Then, if that is true, we would all have the same DNA. So now, the Bible, the teachings, the way the pastors teach that, you have no other right but to question that and say, hey, there's something wrong with that. So that's what I tell you. Now, in the Bible, just like the scripture that Roy just quoted, that's 100% right. That lasts in any generation.
Okay.
That lasts in the Bible. It says, "Thou shalt not steal."
Right.
That goes in any generation. It's universal. That's thou shalt not kill. Universal.
I told you that.
Okay, so but that's what I'm saying. So because of the teachings and the different religions, the Bible can be misconstrued. And with God, there's no confusion.
So, okay, do you have a problem with the Adam and Eve story? I mean, like,
of course I do.
Is it false?
Well, it's in the Bible. The way that it's put in the Bible is not exactly what God what God intended for it to be. My thing when he says took the rib of Adam means that he created another rib. There's the same style, the same thing, and created Eve with it, and took her out of the dust and stuff and created Eve with it. Then another thing was that after this, he did that with not just Adam and Eve, but did that with amongst of people. There was more people that was there. So I don't believe that they were the only 4 people on the earth. I believe that there were, he did that. Now, they might have been the first ones that he created.
Okay.
But I believe he created more.
My personal view in all that is that it's really irrelevant because we will never know.
That's why we weren't there.
We would never know. So my personal viewpoint is that black people.
So it's your faith that makes you believe the Bible?
No. Got nothing to do with faith. Black people waste way too much energy on those stories trying to dissect them and this and that, when you would never know. And what it does is deters you from practicing the real points of the Bible.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
That is not true.
A lot of black people.
He said, as soon as he brought that scripture to me,
Figs, a lot of black people.
I
and y'all
understood it. I felt it. I knew exactly what you were talking about, and it was in my heart. Already there.
Figs,
so all you did was pull it back out of me.
Figs, I've been doing this for years. And what I'm saying is they all over the internet. Black folk all over the internet have discrepancies with these stories. Either they say the Adam and Eve story came from Egypt, Babylon. They came from, and they stole the story and they put it in the Bible. Black people waste too much time with that instead of understanding the point of the Bible, which is God's laws and commandments. And when you live them out, you become prominent.
I agree.
That's the only point. We waste too much time debating those stories.
But one of the things that we got to understand, right, is this. God is a spirit.
Right.
We're human beings, we're flesh. God is not like us.
Yeah.
So when God communicates with us, he has to communicate in a way that we can understand.
Right.
All right? Like the Adam and Eve, he took a rib from Adam and he made Eve. Eve became his rib, she became his helpmeet. All right? But the Bible also says that he created Adam and Eve at the same time.
Okay.
All right? Before the rib was removed. All right? So I have a scripture for you that the Bible says that'll help us with that. This is what the Word of God says. Before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before I formed Eve, I knew her. Before I formed Adam, I knew him.
Okay.
Then I formed him.
I agree.
But that's the spirit. And it became the flesh.
I don't deny that they were spirit.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying they were spirit and physical.
Yeah, brother, I love you.
No, I just love this word.
Wasn't they spirit and physical?
Yeah.
Okay, because you can make the word for me to understand.
I told you that on the phone. You have a very good way of teaching.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't deny that they were spirit together.
Okay. It's just like when we leave our body,
right?
When our clock stops and its time is up, we're not going to die spiritually, but we're going to die physically.
Okay.
And the spirit has to go somewhere.
Okay.
Where's it going to go? It's going to return to God.
Okay.
And that's another point that I always wanted to say and make known. Our physical bodies have a time limit.
Yes.
Your spirit doesn't.
Exactly. How we doing? We can go eat?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, if there's anything else? Anything else?
I need this photo, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get one too, matter of fact.
Alright, but I don't know, the shade, you know.
Wherever you want to move to.
I need this photo, man.
It's either on my phone.
Let me see how you go over here. Let me see how
you
I
can
look.
use my camera? Yeah, let me hook. Oh, I need this photo, man. I gotta put him in my look who I ran into.
This is
Oh man.